Welcome to EGME-331 Solid Mechanics Pre-requisite video series. In this video, we'll be reviewing the topic of beams. So what are beams? Beams are usually long. When it compared to the cross-sectional dimension, they are extremely long, straight, and prismatic members, and they are used to support loads which act perpendicular to the longitudinal axis of the member. The beams are able to resist the transverse loads which are applied by a combination of internal shear force as well as bending moment. Now, beams are characterized by the types of support. That means we classify by the manner in which they are supported. We have primarily three different types of supports. The first one is a pin support. As you can see in this figure, a pin support prevents the translation in two orthogonal directions. For the beams, this means that the displacement parallel to the longitudinal axis of the beam, in this case would be the x-axis, and perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, the y-axis, are restrained at the supported joint. So while translation is restrained by a pin support, the rotation of the joint is still permitted. Then the next we have the roller support. A roller support prevents translation perpendicular to the longitudinal axis of the beam. That would be the y-axis or y direction in our case. However, the joint is free to translate in the x direction and to rotate about the z-axis. Unless specifically stated otherwise, a roller support should be assumed to prevent joint displacements both in the plus as well as negative y directions. And then we have the fixed support. In fixed support, it prevents both the translation as well as the rotation at the supported joint. So the fixed support provides reaction forces to the beam in the x and y directions as well as a reaction moment in the z direction. So this type of support is also termed as the moment connection. So here is the symbolic representation of the different types of commonly seen supports which are associated with the beam. So we have the pin support here, roller support, as well as a fixed support. It is important to keep in mind that these symbols are simply graphic shorthands, and they're used primarily to communicate the different beam support conditions. The actual representation of the actual way the support looks could be different. As you can see here, the actual pin, the roller, as well as the fixed support may take a different configuration as shown in the figure right here.